Maya stood outside the principal's office at Lincoln High School and tried to remember how normal teenagers stood. Did they slouch? Did they fidget? She had spent 3 years fighting on alien worlds, but pretending to be 16 again was harder than any combat mission. The principal, Mr. Carson, smiled at her like she was just another transfer student. He had no idea that the girl in front of him had killed a warlord with her bare hands. He did not know that she could field strip a plasma rifle in under 30 seconds, or that she spoke 4 alien languages fluently. To him, she was just Maya, a quiet girl whose family moved around a lot. "Ready?" Mr. Carson asked, opening the door to the classroom. Maya nodded and followed him inside. The classroom looked like every other high school room she had seen in training videos. Posters on the walls about science and math. Rows of desks facing a whiteboard. Students who barely looked up from their phones as she entered. "Everyone, this is Maya," Mr. Carson announced. "She's joining us from Colorado. Please make her feel welcome." A few students glanced at her. Most went back to whatever they were doing. Maya scanned the room automatically, counting exits and nodding potential threats. 2 doors, 4 windows, 23 students. The teacher's desk could provide cover if needed. She caught herself and forced her mind to stop. There were no threats here. This was supposed to be safe. "Take any open seat, Maya," Mr. Carson said before leaving. Maya chose a desk by the window in the back corner. It gave her a clear view of both doors and the entire classroom. Old habits died hard. The morning classes passed slowly. Math, English, history. Maya answered questions when called on but kept her responses short. She knew the material, all of it. The government tutors had made sure she could pass as a normal student, but she also knew better than to stand out. Smart was fine. Too smart attracted attention. During third period science, the teacher, Ms. Harper, wrote physics equations on the board. Maya recognized advanced orbital mechanics hidden in the simple problems. She had used those same calculations to navigate asteroid fields during the Battle of Titan Station. When Ms. Harper asked for volunteers to solve a problem, Maya kept her hand down even though she knew the answer. "What about you, Maya?" Ms. Harper asked, pointing at her. "Want to give it a try?" Maya walked to the board and solved the equation quickly. She wrote the answer and returned to her seat without explanation. Ms. Harper studied the board. "That's correct. Very efficient method. Have you studied physics before?" "A little," Maya said, which was not exactly a lie. She had studied how plasma physics worked when her squad needed to disable an enemy ship's shields. But that was not the kind of physics Ms. Harper meant. Lunch was the hardest part. Maya sat alone at a table near the exit, watching everyone else. Groups of friends laughing together. Couples holding hands. Normal teenagers living normal lives. She used to have that before the recruiters came. Before she learned that Earth was part of a larger galactic community. Before she became a soldier at 13. A girl with hair approached her table. Morgan, Maya remembered from the class roster she had memorized, smiled the way popular girls did when they were being nice to the new kid. "You're in my English class, right?" asked. "Want to sit with us?" Maya glanced at the table where friends waited. They looked friendly enough. Normal, safe, everything Maya was not. "I'm okay here," Maya said, "but thanks." Shrugged, not offended. "Sure, let me know if you change your mind." After lunch, Maya had gym class. The coach had them running laps around the track. Maya ran at a steady pace, careful to stay in the middle of the pack. She could have lapped everyone twice without breaking a sweat. Combat training on high-gravity worlds had made Earth's gravity feel easy, but fast attracted attention, and attention was dangerous. A boy named Danny Wright jogged beside her. "You're pretty fast," he said between breaths. "You should try out for track." "Maybe," Maya said, knowing she never would. Team sports meant schedules, commitments, people depending on her. She could not afford that. The school day ended at 3. Maya walked to the small apartment she shared with her handler, Helen Grant. Officially, Helen was her aunt who had taken her in after her parents died. In reality, Helen was a Department of Extraterrestrial Defense operative who made sure Maya stayed on mission. The apartment was on the 3rd floor of an old building. Minimal furniture, no personal items, nothing that could not be abandoned in 5 minutes if necessary. Maya dropped her backpack and went straight to the window. She checked the street below out of habit, scanning for surveillance or threats. That was when she saw it, a shimmer in the air above the buildings across the street. Most people would have missed it, would have thought it was heat waves or their eyes playing tricks. But Maya had been trained to spot cloaking technology. She knew what active camouflage looked like when light bent around it. Something was up there, something that did not want to be seen. Maya stepped back from the window and pulled out her phone. She sent a coded text to Helen, possible surveillance detected. Then she grabbed the small tablet hidden in her nightstand. The screen showed a map of the neighborhood with sensor readings. There were energy signatures on the rooftop across from the school, non-human energy signatures. Her hands started to shake, not from fear, but from the adrenaline spike that came with identifying a target. Her body remembered what her mind was trying to forget. She was a hunter, and something was in her territory. Helen arrived home 20 minutes later. She looked like a tired office worker, carrying grocery bags and complaining about traffic. But once the door closed, her expression changed. "Show me," Helen said. Maya brought up the sensor data on her tablet. Helen studied it, her face grim. "Could be nothing," Helen said. "Could be unrelated to you." "Or they found me," Maya said. "If they found you, they would have moved already. This looks like passive observation." Helen set down the groceries. "Maintain your cover. Go to school tomorrow like normal. I'll run this up the chain and see what intel says." "And if it's not unrelated?" Helen met her eyes. "Then we extract you and start over somewhere else, but until we know for sure you're just a student, understood?" Maya nodded, but her mind was already running scenarios. What species used that type of cloaking? Who would be watching a random high school in Colorado? What were they looking for? That night, Maya barely slept. She lay in bed staring at the ceiling, listening to every sound in the building. At 2 in the morning, she got up and checked the window again. The shimmer was still there, almost invisible in the darkness. But now she could see something else. A shape moving on the rooftop. Not human. The proportions were wrong, the movements too precise. Someone was watching the school. And after 3 years of fighting aliens across the galaxy, Maya knew that nothing good ever came from being watched. She pulled on dark clothes and opened her closet. Behind the normal teenage outfits was a false panel. She pressed it, and it slid aside to reveal gear she was not supposed to have in a civilian cover. A combat knife, night vision goggles, a small pistol that fired armor-piercing rounds. Helen had told her to maintain her cover, but Maya had not survived this long by following orders blindly. She had survived by trusting her instincts, and her instincts were screaming that something was very wrong. Maya climbed out her bedroom window onto the fire escape. The metal was cold under her hands as she descended to the alley below. She moved through the shadows like she had been trained, silent and invisible. Just another shadow in a city full of them. She crossed the street and found a way up to the rooftop. The building was old, with plenty of handholds and a rusty ladder. She climbed slowly, listening for any sign that she had been spotted. At the top, she crouched behind an air conditioning unit and observed. The figure was 50 feet away, standing at the edge of the roof facing the school. In the dim light from the street below, Maya could make out details. Tall, maybe 7 feet. Thin limbs but dense muscle structure. Skin that seemed to shift colors slightly, blending with the background. Maya felt her blood run cold. She knew that species. Everyone in the department did. Were hunters, bounty collectors, assassins for hire. They never stopped once they had a contract. They never forgave. They never forgot. The question was, who was the target? Maya watched for another 10 minutes. It never moved, just stood there watching the dark school building. Finally, Maya retreated back down to the alley and returned to her apartment the way she had come. She did not sleep the rest of the night. She sat at her window with her tablet, running through databases and trying to figure out who at Lincoln High School had attracted the attention of a hunter. Because one thing was certain now. Her war had followed her home, and innocent people were about to get caught in the crossfire. Maya woke up after 2 hours of restless sleep. She looked at herself in the bathroom mirror and practiced smiling. Normal girls smiled at school. Normal girls did not spend the night watching alien assassins from rooftops. She went through her morning routine slowly, trying to focus on the ordinary tasks. Brush teeth, comb hair, pick out clothes that looked like a teenager chose them. Every action felt strange, like wearing a costume that did not quite fit. Helen was already in the kitchen making coffee. She glanced at Maya and frowned. "You look tired." "Could not sleep," Maya admitted. She poured herself orange juice and sat at the small table. "Did you get any information?" "Some." Helen sat across from her. "There have been reports of activity in North America. 3 in the past month, all in different cities. No confirmed targets yet. They're hunting someone. Probably, but we don't know who. Helen's voice became firm. Your orders remain the same. Maintain your cover, go to school, act normal. If he is after you, he would have made a move already. Maya wanted to argue, but Helen was right. Hunters did not watch targets for days. They studied patterns for a few hours and then struck. If the hunter had wanted Maya, she would already be dead. That meant someone else at the school was the target. Some student or teacher had no idea they were being stalked by an alien killer. I'll be careful, Maya said. Be more than careful, be invisible. Helen stood and grabbed her car keys. I'll drive you to school today just in case. The ride was quiet. Maya watched the streets looking for anything unusual. Everything seemed normal. People walking dogs, kids waiting for buses. Nobody noticed the war being fought in the shadows around them. Lincoln High looked the same as yesterday. Students crowded the hallways between classes. Lockers slammed. Teachers shouted reminders about homework. Maya moved through it all like a ghost, present but not really there. In chemistry class, Morgan waved at her. Hey, Maya, we're having a study group this weekend. Want to come? Maya hesitated. Part of her wanted to say yes, wanted to try being a normal teenager for just one afternoon. But the other part, the soldier part, knew better. Friends were liabilities. People you cared about became targets. I have family stuff this weekend, Maya lied. But thanks. Looked disappointed but nodded. Another time, maybe. During third period, Maya had gym class. As she changed in the locker room, she noticed something odd. There was a new janitor in the hallway outside mopping the floor, but he was not really mopping. He was standing still, his eyes scanning the students as they passed. His posture was wrong, too alert, too focused. Maya finished changing and walked past him, keeping her pace casual. As she went by, she glanced at his face. Her training kicked in immediately, recognizing the subtle differences. The eyes were slightly too large. The skin texture was not quite right. The proportions of his body were just different enough to trigger alarm bells. This one was wearing a better disguise than the watcher on the roof, but Maya could see through it. She had fought their kind too many times to be fooled. The janitor's eyes met hers for just a second. She saw recognition there. He knew what she was, and she knew what he was. Two predators acknowledging each other in a hallway full of prey. Maya kept walking. Her heart was racing, but she forced her breathing to stay calm. She went to gym class and ran laps with the others, but her mind was working fast. Why were there two at the school? If they were both after the same target, that meant the contract was important, valuable, difficult. She needed to figure out who they were hunting before they made their move. After gym, Maya changed quickly and headed to the library instead of lunch. She sat at a computer in the back corner and logged into a secure network using credentials Helen had given her. The Department of Extraterrestrial Defense maintained files on every alien species that had contact with Earth. Maya pulled up the section. Hunters worked on contracts. Someone paid them to kill a target, and they did not stop until the job was done or they died trying. The targets were usually high value. Politicians, scientists, witnesses to crimes, people who knew too much about things they should not know. Maya stared at the screen. Who at this ordinary high school could be important enough for a contract? She ran searches on the school staff first. Most were just regular teachers, but then she found something interesting. The school had recently hired Dr. Park as a part-time science consultant. He helped develop the advanced physics curriculum. Maya dug deeper. Dr. Park was a xenobiology researcher. He had worked for several corporations that did business with alien species. 2 years ago, he had before the Galactic Trade Commission about illegal genetic experiments being run by a company. His testimony had resulted in massive fines and criminal charges. They did not forgive, and they did not forget. Maya checked if Dr. Park had children at the school. Her stomach dropped when she found the answer. Lily Park, freshman, 14 years old, member of the art club, honor roll student. An innocent girl with no idea she was being hunted because of her father's courage. Maya closed the browser and left the library. She needed to find Lily Park and figure out how to protect her without blowing her cover. The problem was that hunters were patient and thorough. They would study Lily's patterns, find the moment when she was most vulnerable, and strike when no one could stop them. Unless someone saw them coming. Maya spent the rest of the day tracking Lily's schedule. She noted which classes the girl attended, where she ate lunch, what route she took to the parking lot. Lily was small and quiet, the kind of student who went unnoticed in crowds, perfect target for an assassination. At the end of the school day, Maya followed Lily at a distance. She watched as the girl walked to the student parking lot where her mother waited in a blue sedan. The janitor was watching too, standing near the building entrance with his mop. His eyes tracked Lily the entire way to the car. Maya felt rage building in her chest. These killers were at her school, threatening a child, and she was supposed to just watch and maintain her cover. Every instinct she had was screaming at her to act, to fight, to protect. But Helen's orders were clear: stay invisible unless directly threatened. Maya pulled out her phone and texted Helen, target identified. Lily Park, freshman, father against corporation, 2 hunters on site, request permission to intervene. The response came back quickly, negative. Local authorities have been, protection detail being arranged. Maintain cover. Maya wanted to throw her phone. Local authorities meant normal police who had no idea what they were facing. Protection detail took time to arrange, time that Lily might not have. She watched the blue sedan drive away with Lily inside and made a decision. Helen could give all the orders she wanted. Maya had been a soldier before she became a student, and soldiers did not let innocents die when they had the power to prevent it. That night, Maya broke into the school after hours. She moved through the dark hallways like a shadow, avoiding security cameras and motion sensors. She found the janitor's supply closet and picked the lock in seconds. Inside, hidden under cleaning supplies, was exactly what she expected: a portable computer displaying student photos and schedules, weapons designed to look like ordinary objects, communication equipment for calling in backup or reporting mission status. Maya photographed everything with her phone and sent the images to Helen. Then she planted a small tracking device inside this equipment bag. If he moved on Lily, Maya would know immediately. She was about to leave when she heard footsteps in the hallway. Maya froze, knife in hand. The steps came closer, slow and deliberate. Someone else was in the school after hours. The door to the supply closet opened. The janitor stood there, his human disguise looking slightly wrong in the dim emergency lighting. He smiled, showing too many teeth. "I thought I smelled another hunter," he said in accented English. "You are the girl from gym class, the one who moves like a soldier." Maya said nothing. Her mind was calculating distances and angles, the knife in her hand versus whatever weapons he had hidden on his body, her training versus his experience. "You are protecting the park, girl," the continued. "Interesting. Are you Department of Defense, Special Operations?" "Leave," Maya said quietly. "Leave this school, leave this city, and forget about Lily Park." The laughed. "I have a contract. Honor demands completion. The girl's father cost my clan billions. His daughter will pay the price." "She's 14 years old." "Old enough," the tilted his head. "You are young too, 16, maybe 17, a child soldier, how very human, using bobbies to fight your wars." Maya felt the familiar cold settle over her, the same cold that came in combat when emotions had to be shut down and only the mission mattered. "Last warning, walk away. Or what, you will kill me in a school hallway? That would certainly ruin your cover." They stepped closer. "I have backup coming. 3 more hunters arrive tomorrow. We will take the Park family together. You are one child with a knife. You cannot stop us." "No," Maya agreed, "but I can slow you down, and sometimes that's enough." She moved fast, faster than they expected. Her knife went for his throat, but he blocked it with his arm. They fought in silence, both knowing that noise would bring security guards. That was stronger, but Maya was quicker. She used the tight space to her advantage, making his size work against him. The fight lasted 30 seconds. Maya got in 3 good cuts before breaking away and running. She heard the curse behind her in his own language, but he did not chase her. He could not risk exposure any more than she could. Maya escaped through a window and ran across the dark campus. Blood from a shallow cut on her arm dripped onto the grass, but she ignored it. She had bigger problems now. The news she was protecting Lily. He had called for backup. 3 more hunters were coming, and Maya was one person trying to protect an entire family against trained killers. She pulled out her phone and called Helen. "I know what you're going to say," Maya started. "You engaged the target," Helen said, her voice tight with anger. "You broke cover." "He knows about Lily." 3 more hunters are coming tomorrow. If we wait for official protection, she'll be dead." There was a long silence on the line. Finally, Helen sighed. "What do you need?" "Equipment, weapons, surveillance gear, everything I had on active duty." Maya started running toward her apartment. "And I need you to get the Park family to safety." "I'll see what I can do, but Maya, this could end your career if you blow your cover." "I don't care about my career," Maya interrupted. "I care about keeping a 14-year-old girl alive." "That's what makes you a good soldier," Helen said quietly. "And a terrible spy. Get home. I'll have your Maya did not sleep that night." She sat on her bedroom floor, cleaning and checking the equipment Helen had delivered. A compact pistol that could punch through armor, 3 combat knives, surveillance devices small enough to hide anywhere, body armor thin enough to wear under her school clothes. Helen sat across from her, looking older and more tired than usual. "The Park family refused protective custody. Dr. Park thinks we're overreacting. He says the trial was 2 years ago and nobody is still angry about it." "He's wrong," Maya said, sliding a magazine into the pistol and checking the action. "Hold grudges for generations. 2 years is nothing to them." "I told him that. He doesn't believe in alien threats. He thinks they are just misunderstood." Helen shook her head. "He's a scientist. He trusts data and evidence. He won't believe the danger until he sees it." "By then it will be too late." Maya strapped a knife to her ankle. "What about Lily? Can we protect her without telling the family why?" "I'm working on it. I've arranged for extra security at the school, plainclothes officers who know what to look for." Helen handed Maya a small earpiece. "You'll have direct communication with them, but Maya, you need to understand something. If this goes wrong, I can't protect you. The department will deny everything. You'll be on your own." "I know." Maya had known that from the start. Operatives who broke cover lost all official support. That was the deal. But she had stopped caring about official support the moment she saw a hunter watching a school full of children. Dawn came too soon. Maya dressed for school, but under her normal clothes was body armor. Knives were hidden in her shoes and backpack. The pistol was in a holster at the small of her back. She looked in the mirror and saw a girl playing dress-up as a soldier, or maybe a soldier playing dress-up as a girl. She was not sure anymore which one was the disguise. Helen drove her to school again. "The hunters will make their move today," Helen said. "They know you're onto them. They'll want to finish the job before you can call in more support." "Let them come," Maya said. "Maya," Helen's voice was gentle. "You're 17 years old. These are trained killers with decades of experience. Don't let your pride get you killed." "It's not pride." Maya opened the car door. "It's just what I do." She walked into Lincoln High for what might be the last time. The hallways were crowded with students who had no idea that a battle was about to happen around them. Morgan waved at her. Danny Wright called out a greeting. Normal kids living normal lives. Maya went to her locker and pretended to get books while actually checking her weapons. Everything was in place. The earpiece was hidden under her hair. She was as ready as she could be. First period was English. Maya sat in her usual seat by the window and watched the door. The janitor was not in the hallway. That worried her more than if he had been visible. Invisible meant he was positioning himself for an attack. Her earpiece crackled softly. Helen's voice came through. "Security teams are in position, 2 at the main entrance, 2 at the parking lot, 1 in the administrative office." "Copy that," Maya whispered, pretending to cough. "Lily Park is in her art class right now. East wing, 2nd floor. We have eyes on her." Maya relaxed slightly. If Lily was being watched, she was safe for now. The hunters would need to isolate her first. That meant waiting for a moment when she was alone or in a small group. Maybe a bathroom break. Maybe the walk between classes. Third period was when it happened. Maya was in science class when her earpiece crackled with urgency. "We have 4 unknown individuals entering the building. They match the profile. 3 came through the main entrance with fake visitor badges. 1 came through the loading dock." Maya stood up so fast her chair fell over. Ms. Harper looked at her in surprise. "Maya, are you okay?" "I need to go," Maya said, already moving toward the door. "Emergency." She ran into the hallway before Ms. Harper could respond. Her earpiece was chaos now. Security officers reporting positions. Helen coordinating movements, and under it all, the sound of someone screaming. Maya ran toward the east wing. Other students were coming out of classrooms, confused by the noise. A fire alarm started blaring. That was wrong. Nobody had pulled a fire alarm, unless... They were creating chaos, making everyone evacuate. In the confusion of hundreds of students flooding the hallways, they could grab Lily and disappear. Maya pushed through the crowd, fighting against the flow of students heading for the exits. She reached the art classroom just as Lily Park stepped into the hallway with her classmates. "Lily," Maya shouted. The girl turned, confused. She had no idea who Maya was, just another student she had seen around campus. Maya grabbed her arm. "Come with me now." "What? I don't." "Your father against they're here to kill you. Move." Lily's eyes went wide with fear, but she was smart enough not to argue. Maya pulled her back into the art classroom, which was now empty. She locked the door and pushed a heavy cabinet in front of it. "What's happening?" Lily's voice was shaking. "Stay quiet, stay behind me." Maya drew the pistol from her back holster. "And no matter what you see, don't scream." The door handle rattled, then something heavy slammed against the door. The wood cracked but held. Maya's earpiece was screaming now. Officers engaging hostiles, shots fired, students running in panic. The careful plan had fallen apart in seconds. The door exploded inward. The cabinet Maya had pushed against it went flying across the room. Two hunters stood in the doorway, their human disguises flickering and failing. They looked like nightmares now, all sharp angles and predatory grace. "Give us the girl," one said. "You cannot win this fight." Maya fired 3 times. The rounds hit the first hunter in the chest, staggering him backward. Armor was good, but human weapons had come a long way. The hunter went down, not dead, but hurt. The second hunter was faster. He cleared the distance between them in one leap. Maya barely had time to drop the pistol and draw her knife before he was on her. They crashed into a table covered with art supplies. Paint and brushes went everywhere. Lily screamed. Maya could not spare attention to calm her. They was trying to get past her to reach the girl. Maya fought with everything she had, years of training, months of combat on distant worlds, every dirty trick she had ever learned. The knife found gaps in the hunter's armor, not killing blows but enough to slow him down. Maya used the environment as a weapon. She threw paint in his eyes, smashed a clay sculpture over his head, kicked his knee in a way that made bone crunch. He was stronger than her, faster than her, more experienced than her. But Maya had one advantage. She was human, and humans did not know how to quit. The hunter grabbed her throat and lifted her off the ground. Maya could not breathe. Black spots danced in her vision. She had seconds before she passed out. She drove the knife up under his jaw. The blade went through weak points in his armor and into something vital. The hunter dropped her and stumbled backward, gurgling. He collapsed and stopped moving. Maya gasped for air, her throat burning. She picked up her pistol and checked the doorway. The first hunter was gone, probably retreating to regroup. 2 more hunters were somewhere in the school, and security was spread too thin to stop them all. "Is he dead?" Lily whispered. "Yes," Maya grabbed the girl's arm again. "We need to move. The others will come for you." They ran into the chaos of the hallway. Students were everywhere trying to evacuate. Teachers were shouting instructions. Nobody noticed 2 girls running against the crowd. Maya's earpiece crackled. Helen's voice was tight. "Maya, you need to get out of there. We're evacuating the building. 3 hunters are down, but 1 is still active. He's heading for the parking lot." "Lily's with me. Where's her family?" "Her mother is in the parking lot. Dr. Park is on his way from the university." Helen paused. "The last hunter is going after the mother. He'll use her as bait to draw out Lily." Maya cursed and changed direction. She pulled Lily toward the nearest exit. "Your mom is in danger. We have to get to her first." They burst out of the building into bright sunlight. The parking lot was chaos, cars trying to leave, parents arriving to pick up their kids, security officers trying to control the crowd. Maya spotted the blue sedan where Lily's mother waited. She also spotted moving through the crowd with deadly purpose. He was the biggest of the 4 hunters, and he did not care about hiding anymore. People screamed and ran as they saw his true form. "Mom," Lily screamed. The hunter turned toward the sound. His eyes locked on Lily. He smiled. Maya pushed Lily behind a car and ran straight at the hunter. She fired her pistol as she ran, forcing him to dodge. He was fast, but she kept him moving, kept him focused on her instead of Lily. They met in the middle of the parking lot. The hunter's clawed hand caught Maya across the chest. Her armor absorbed most of the impact, but she still felt ribs crack. She went down hard on the asphalt. The hunter stood over her. Brave little human, but pointless. I will kill the girl, then I will kill her mother, then I will kill her father, and there is nothing you can do to stop me. Maya smiled through the pain. Wrong. A shot rang out. The hunter jerked and looked down at the hole in his chest. He turned to see Helen standing 20 feet away with a rifle. You forgot about me, Helen said. She fired again and again. The hunter went down. Maya struggled to her feet. Her chest hurt, but nothing vital was damaged. She limped over to where Lily was crying in her mother's arms. Mrs. Park looked at Maya with wide eyes. Who are you? She whispered. Someone who keeps people safe, Maya said, then she collapsed. She woke up in a hospital room. Helen was sitting next to the bed, reading a file. When she saw Maya's eyes open, she smiled. You'll live, 3 cracked ribs, bruised throat, multiple cuts and bruises, but you'll heal. Lily, Maya's voice was rough. Safe, her whole family is in protective custody now. Dr. Park finally believes in alien threats. Helen set down the file. You killed 2 hunters and helped take down 4 more. The department is impressed. Also furious with you for breaking cover, but mostly impressed. What happens now? Now you get a new identity and a new assignment. Helen's expression softened. Or you could quit. Go to a real school, be a real teenager. You've done enough, Maya. Nobody would blame you for walking away. Maya thought about it, about Morgan and her friendly smile, about Danny Wright and his casual kindness, about Ms. Harper and her physics equations, about what it felt like to be normal even for a few days. Then she thought about Lily Park, about a 14-year-old girl who got to live because Maya had refused to walk away. I'm not done yet, Maya said. Helen nodded like she had expected that answer. Good, because we need people like you, people who see a threat and run toward it instead of away, people who protect the innocent even when it costs them everything. What's the new assignment? Another school, another identity, same mission. Helen stood and walked to the door. Rest for now. When you're healed, we'll start over, somewhere new, watching for the next threat. Maya closed her eyes. Her body hurt. Her cover was blown. Her chance at a normal life was gone, but she had saved Lily Park, and tomorrow she would save someone else. That was enough. That had to be enough. You're there in an hour. 2 weeks later, Maya stood outside a different school in a different state. Her name was Sophie now. Her hair was shorter and darker. She wore glasses she did not need. But underneath the new appearance, she was still the same person, still a soldier pretending to be a student. Helen, using a different identity as her aunt, stood beside her. This is Riverside High School in Oregon, small town, quiet, the perfect place to lay low and recover. Am I here to recover or to work? Maya asked. Both. Helen handed her a backpack. There's no specific threat here. This is just a normal assignment. Go to school, watch for anything unusual, try to be a teenager for a few months. Maya took the backpack. It felt too light. No weapons, no armor, just textbooks and normal school supplies. She was not sure how she felt about that. What happened to the Park family? Maya had asked the question every day for 2 weeks. They're safe, new identities, new city. Lily sent you something. Helen pulled an envelope from her pocket. She wanted you to have this. Maya opened the envelope. Inside was a drawing. It showed a girl with a sword standing between a monster and a smaller figure. Under the drawing, Lily had written, "Thank you for being brave when I couldn't be. You're my hero." Maya folded the paper carefully and put it in her pocket. Heroes were people in stories. She was just a soldier doing her job. But if that job meant protecting people like Lily, she could live with being called a hero. Ready? Helen asked. Maya nodded and walked toward the school entrance. Students moved around her, talking and laughing. Nobody knew who she really was. Nobody knew what she had done. She was invisible again, safe behind another false identity. The first day passed like the one at Lincoln High had. Teachers introduced her. Students ignored her. She found a desk in the back corner and watched everything. The difference was that this time she was not looking for threats. She was trying to understand what normal teenagers did, how they moved, how they talked, how they existed without constantly checking for danger. In her English class, a boy named Chris Lawrence sat next to her. He had red hair and an easy smile. You're the new girl, right? Sophie. Yes, Maya said. Where did you transfer from? Maya recited the cover story Helen had prepared. Colorado, my aunt got a new job here. Cool, Oregon is pretty nice once you get used to the rain. Chris pulled out his notebook. If you need help with anything, let me know. I know this place can be confusing at first. Thanks, Maya said and meant it. Chris seemed genuine, not trying to be popular or cool, just being kind. At lunch, Maya sat alone again, but this time Chris and two of his friends invited her to their table. Maya hesitated, remembering what happened at Lincoln High. Getting close to people was dangerous, but Helen had told her to try being normal, so she sat with them. Chris introduced his friends. This is and Cole, we're all in the robotics club together. Was small and talked fast about the competition their club was preparing for. Was quiet but smiled when Chris made jokes. They were nice. Normal. They treated Maya like a regular person, not someone to be suspicious of or afraid of. For the first time in weeks, Maya started to relax. The days turned into a week. Maya went to classes. She ate lunch with Chris and his friends. She even joined the robotics club, though she had to be careful not to show too much technical knowledge. Normal teenagers did not know how to build combat drones or repair plasma weapons. At night, she checked in with Helen. Anything unusual? Helen always asked. No, everything is quiet, Maya would report, and it was true. Riverside High was peaceful, no alien hunters, no assassination attempts, no wars in the shadows, just a school full of teenagers living their lives. Maya started to wonder if this was what normal felt like, if she could actually have this, a life that was not defined by combat and survival. Then 3 weeks into her new identity, something changed. Maya was in the library during lunch, reading a book for English class, when she noticed someone watching her. A girl sat 2 tables away, pretending to study but actually staring at Maya. When Maya looked up, the girl quickly looked away. Maya recognized that behavior. It was surveillance. Amateur surveillance, but surveillance all the same. The girl was about 16 with black hair and nervous energy. Maya had seen her around school but did not know her name. She checked her phone and pulled up the student directory. Grace Palmer, Jr., member of the newspaper club. Maya closed her book and walked over to Grace's table. Can I help you with something? Grace jumped. What? No, I wasn't. I was just... You were watching me, Maya said quietly. Why? Grace bit her lip, then made a decision. She pulled out a notebook and opened it. The page was filled with notes and observations. Names, dates, strange events around town. Something weird is going on in Riverside, Grace said in a low voice. Strange lights in the forest, missing pets, people seeing things they can't explain. I'm investigating for the school newspaper. She pointed at Maya's name in the notebook. You showed up right when things got strange. I wanted to know if you're connected. Maya's mind raced. She kept her expression neutral. That's ridiculous. I'm just a transfer student. Maybe, but you're also really good at noticing things. You scan rooms like you're looking for threats. You sit with your back to walls. You never use headphones because you want to hear what's around you. Grace leaned forward. Those are spy habits or soldier habits. I've done research. Maya felt cold. This girl had noticed too much, seen through her cover with nothing but observation and curiosity. That made Grace dangerous, not because she wanted to hurt anyone, but because the truth could get people killed. You need to stop investigating, Maya said firmly. Whatever you think is happening, it's not your problem. How do you know? Grace challenged. How do you know what my problem is? Maya stood up. Because I know what happens to curious people who dig too deep. Trust me, stop looking, stop asking questions, and forget about me. She walked away before Grace could respond. That night, Maya told Helen about the conversation. Helen's face was grim. This is bad. If she's noticed you, others might have too. We might need to pull you out. No, Maya said. I can handle this. Let me talk to her again, make sure she understands the danger. Maya, you can't tell her the truth. I won't, but I can scare her enough to make her stop. The next day, Maya found Grace after school. She waited until the girl was alone in the parking lot, then approached from behind. Grace jumped when Maya spoke. We need to talk, somewhere private. Grace looked scared but nodded. They walked to a park a few blocks from school and sat on a bench away from other people. I'm going to tell you something, Maya said. And you're going to listen, you're going to believe me, and then you're going to stop investigating. Okay, Grace whispered. There are things in this world that normal people don't know about. Things the government keeps secret because knowing about them would cause panic. Aliens exist. They visit Earth. Most of them are peaceful, some are not. Maya met Grace's eyes. The strange things you've been noticing, they're real, and they're dangerous. People who investigate them have a way of disappearing. Grace's hands were shaking. Are you one of them, an alien? No, I'm human, but I work for people who handle these situations. And I'm telling you, as someone who has seen what happens when civilians get involved, you need to stop. Erase your notes. Delete your research. Pretend you never noticed anything strange. But people should know. People should be safe, Maya interrupted. And they're safer not knowing, trust me on this. Grace was quiet for a long time. Finally, she nodded. Okay, I'll stop, but can I ask one question? One, are we in danger? The town, I mean, is something bad going to happen? Maya wanted to lie, wanted to say everything was fine. But Grace deserved honesty after being brave enough to investigate. I don't know, Maya admitted. But if something happens, there are people watching. People like me. We'll keep everyone safe. That's the job. Grace smiled a little. That's kind of amazing, scary but amazing. They parted ways. Maya hoped that would be the end of it. That Grace would keep her promise and stop investigating. That life could go back to being quietly normal. But 3 days later, the lights appeared in the forest. Maya was at home when Helen burst through the door. We have a situation, multiple energy signatures in the woods outside town. Non-human, could be nothing, could be a scout ship. Maya was already grabbing her gear. What are the orders? Investigate, determine threat level, report back. Helen handed her a weapon. I'm coming with you. They drove to the forest and parked on a back road. Maya checked her equipment. Weapons, scanner, night vision, everything she needed for a reconnaissance mission. They hiked into the woods, moving quietly through the trees. The scanner picked up the energy signatures about a mile in. 3 distinct sources, 2 large to be natural, 2 organized to be random. As they got closer, Maya saw lights through the trees, blue and white, pulsing in patterns that hurt to look at. She and Helen crept forward until they could see the source. 3 ships, small scout vessels designed for stealth and speed, and around them, moving with purpose, were figures. Not human, not either, something else. Maya raised her scanner and captured images. The figures were tall and thin, with too many joints in their limbs. Their faces were smooth and featureless. A species known for resource surveying and mining operations. What are they doing here? Helen whispered. Maya watched them working. They were taking samples. Dirt, plants, water from a nearby stream, standard surveying behavior. They were checking if Earth's resources were valuable enough to exploit. They're scouting for mining operations, Maya said. If they report back that this area is worth harvesting, they'll come back with bigger ships and extraction equipment. We need to stop them. How, if we attack, they'll know humans are aware of them? That could start a diplomatic incident, maybe a war. Helen checked her weapon. So we just let them take samples of our planet. Maya thought about it, about the town nearby, about Chris and Ann, about Grace Palmer and her dangerous curiosity, about all the normal people living normal lives who had no idea that aliens were considering their home as a resource to be mined. Maya studied through her night vision scope. They moved with careful efficiency, taking samples and recording data. They thought they were alone, thought humans were not advanced enough to detect them. That was their first mistake. Here's the plan, Maya whispered to Helen. We make them think Earth is too dangerous to mine. We show them that humans are not easy prey. How do we do that without starting a war? We make it look like an accident, like they stumbled onto something they were not ready for. Maya pointed at the ships. Those vessels use plasma cores for power. If one of those cores had a malfunction and exploded, it would look like equipment failure, not an attack. Helen understood immediately. And the survivors would report that Earth's magnetic field or atmospheric conditions caused the malfunction. They would recommend against further missions. Exactly, but I need to get close enough to sabotage the core without being seen. That's suicide. There are at least 20 down there. Maya checked her gear. Then I better be really quiet. She moved before Helen could argue. Maya had learned stealth from the best. She could move through a forest without disturbing a leaf, could control her breathing so well that even enhanced alien sensors would miss her. She circled wide around the camp, approaching from downwind. Her suit blocked thermal signatures. Her movements were slow and deliberate, 1 step every 30 seconds. Patience was a weapon too. It took her 20 minutes to reach the nearest ship. She crouched in the shadow of a tree and watched the work. Two were nearby examining soil samples. She waited for them to move away. When they did, Maya darted forward. She reached the ship's maintenance panel in seconds. Her fingers found the access port and plugged in a device Helen had designed. It would override the safety systems on the plasma core and cause a controlled overload. Controlled for humans. It would look like a catastrophic failure. She set the timer for 5 minutes and retreated back into the forest. She had just reached Helen's position when one of them noticed something wrong. It called out in its own language, a series of clicks and whistles. Others responded, moving toward the ship. "Run," Maya said. They ran through the forest as fast as they dared. Behind them, they were discovering the sabotage. Alarms started blaring from the ships. Maya counted seconds in her head. 3 minutes left. 2 minutes. 1. The explosion lit up the forest. The plasma core detonated with enough force to shatter trees 100 feet away. The fireball rose into the night sky, bright enough to be seen from town. Maya and Helen hit the ground as the shockwave passed over them. When Maya looked back, one ship was gone, just scattered debris and burning metal. The other 2 ships were damaged but intact, were running around in panic, trying to understand what happened. "Time to send the rest of the message," Maya said. She pulled out a radio transmitter and keyed it to the frequency. Then she played a recording. It was her own voice, modified to sound deeper and more threatening. "Attention unidentified vessels. You have entered protected space. This planet is defended. Your unauthorized mining survey has been terminated. Leave immediately or face destruction. This is your only warning." The message repeated 3 times. Maya watched through her scope as they received it. They moved even faster now, loading equipment and retreating to their ships. Within 5 minutes, the 2 remaining vessels lifted off and vanished into the sky. Helen laughed quietly. "You just convinced an alien species that Earth has planetary defense systems. Let them think that. Maybe it will make others think twice before coming here." Maya stood and brushed dirt off her clothes. "We should go before local authorities arrive to investigate the explosion." They hiked back to their car and drove away. Behind them, sirens wailed as fire trucks and police headed toward the forest. The official story would be a meteor impact. Strange but explainable. Nobody would know the truth. The next day at school, everyone was talking about the explosion. Chris showed Maya videos people had recorded on their phones. The fireball had been spectacular. "Some people are saying it was aliens," Chris said, grinning. "Can you believe that? Aliens in Riverside." Maya smiled. "That's crazy, definitely just a meteor." Grace Palmer walked past their table. She caught Maya's eye for just a second. In that glance was understanding. Grace knew. She had put the pieces together, but she also kept walking, kept the secret. Some truths were too dangerous to share. That afternoon, Maya was called to the principal's office. She went prepared for anything, but it was just Helen waiting for her. They walked outside to the parking lot where they could talk privately. "The department analyzed the communication logs," Helen said. "They sent a report to their home world. Just like we hoped, they reported equipment failure due to unknown planetary defense systems. They recommended marking Earth as too dangerous for resource extraction." "So it worked." "Better than worked. You probably just protected Earth from mining operations for the next century." Helen smiled. "The department wants to expand the program, more operatives placed in schools around the world, early warning systems for alien activity. You would train them." Maya looked back at the school. Through the windows, she could see students in classrooms. Normal kids learning math and science and history. They had no idea how close they had come to losing everything. "I'll do it," Maya said, "but on one condition." "What?" "I want to finish this school year here. As Sophie, no more missions, no more threats, just let me be a student for a few months." Helen considered it. "You've earned it, we can give you that, but after graduation you're back on active duty." "Deal." The next few months were the most normal of Maya's life since she was 13. She went to classes, helped the robotics club build their competition robot, studied for tests that did not involve survival skills or combat tactics. She even went to the spring dance with Chris, though she spent the whole time watching the doors out of habit. Morgan and the others from Lincoln High sent her messages sometimes. They called her Maya, not knowing she was now Sophie. She replied carefully, keeping the conversations light. They thought she had moved away because of family stuff. They had no idea she was living under a new name in a new state. Lily Park sent drawings every few weeks. Each one showed the girl with the sword protecting different people. Lily was in therapy now, processing what had happened. Her father had taken a job that let him work from home, keeping his family close. They were healing, together. On the last day of school, Maya sat in her English class and listened to Ms. Harper talk about summer reading. The sun was shining through the windows. Students were excited about vacation. Everything was peaceful. Chris leaned over and whispered, "Are you coming back next year?" Maya thought about it. Helen had said she would be on active duty after graduation, but graduation was still a year away. She had time to be a teenager, time to have friends and go to parties and worry about normal things like homework and college applications. "Yeah," Maya said, "I'll be back." After school, she walked home slowly. Helen was waiting with dinner already made. Real dinner, not combat rations or quick meals between missions. They sat at the table like a real family. "How was your last day?" Helen asked. "Good, normal," Maya smiled. "I like normal." "You've earned it." Helen poured them both lemonade. "But you know it can't last forever. Eventually there will be another threat, another mission. The war is never really over." "I know, but maybe that's okay." Maya thought about the ships fleeing into space, about Lily Park's drawings, about Chris and his easy smile, about all the people who got to live normal lives because someone stood watch in the shadows. Maybe the war being never over means there's always something worth protecting. Helen raised her glass, to protecting what matters. Maya clinked her glass against Helen's, to protecting what matters. That night Maya lay in bed and looked at the ceiling. Tomorrow she would sleep in, maybe hang out with Chris and the others, maybe work on the car Helen had promised to teach her to fix. Normal teenager stuff. But she would also check her equipment, make sure her weapons were clean and ready, review threat assessments and intelligence reports, because she was still a soldier, still a guardian, still someone who stood between innocent people and the dangers they never saw coming. Her phone buzzed, a message from an unknown number. She opened it carefully. It was from Grace Palmer, just 3 words, "Thank you, Sophie." Maya deleted the message and smiled. Grace had kept the secret, had understood that some truths were dangerous, but that knowing someone was watching made the danger easier to bear. Maya closed her eyes. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new threats, new people to protect, but tonight she could rest, could let herself be 17 years old for a few more hours, could pretend that she was just a normal schoolgirl. Because that was the trick, really, the secret that made everything work. She was not pretending to be normal. She was being normal, just a normal girl who happened to be a highly trained operative, just a normal teenager who happened to have fought in wars across the galaxy, just a normal student who happened to stand ready to kill or die to protect her classmates. The greatest weapon humanity had was not technology or strength. It was the ability to be both ordinary and extraordinary at the same time, to hide warriors among the civilians, to make every school, every town, every normal place into a fortress that could not be taken because no enemy would see it coming. She walked into class like a normal schoolgirl, and that was exactly what made her so dangerous. Miles above Earth, a monitoring station recorded the report. Other species read it and made their own calculations. Earth had unknown defense capabilities. Earth could detect stealth vessels. Earth was protected by something unseen but deadly. The reports spread. World after world marked Earth as too risky to approach without permission. Mining operations were canceled. Invasion plans were shelved. Research missions were redirected to safer targets. None of them knew the truth, that Earth's defense system was not technology or weapons. It was teenagers, children who had been trained and placed and trusted with the most important mission in human history. Protect home no matter what, no matter the cost. Maya, currently known as Sophie, slept peacefully. Tomorrow she would go to the mall with friends, would eat pizza and watch movies and laugh at stupid jokes, would be so completely, perfectly normal that nobody would ever suspect what she really was. A hunter, a soldier, a guardian. A girl who walked into class like everyone else, but who carried the weight of a world on her shoulders and made it look easy. That was humanity's secret. That was humanity's strength. They hid their warriors in plain sight, and by the time their enemies realized the truth, it was already too late. Somewhere in the galaxy, they were learning this lesson. They had sent 4 hunters to kill a child. Only one escaped to tell the story. The story of a teenage girl who fought like a demon and protected her classmates without hesitation or fear. The story spread. Human soldiers were not just in their military, they were everywhere, in schools, in offices, in homes. Every human was potentially a threat. Every civilian could be a warrior. It made Earth untouchable in a way that weapons never could. Maya woke to sunlight and the smell of breakfast. Helen was making pancakes. Real pancakes, not the synthetic food from military rations. Maya got dressed in normal clothes, jeans and a t-shirt, no armor, no weapons, just a girl getting ready for a summer day. She looked at herself in the mirror, saw a 17-year-old with tired eyes but a genuine smile, saw someone who had been through hell and came out still believing in hope, still fighting for a better world. "Ready for your summer vacation," Helen called from the kitchen. Maya grabbed her phone and headed for breakfast, ready for anything. And she was, ready for lazy days and late nights with friends, ready for movie marathons and beach trips, ready for all the normal things teenagers did during summer. But also ready for the call that would inevitably come, the next threat, the next mission, the next time innocent people needed someone to stand between them and danger. She would enjoy her summer, would be a teenager and have fun and make memories. But when the call came, she would answer. Because she was Maya, Sophie, and 1,000 other names she would wear in the years to come. She walked into rooms like a normal girl and saved the world before anyone knew it needed saving. That was her job, her calling, her choice. And she would do it for as long as it took, for as long as Earth needed guardians hiding in plain sight. Forever if necessary, because that was what humanity did best. They protected their own. "No," Maya said, "we don't let them, but we have to be smart about it." She had an idea, a crazy, dangerous idea that might get her killed, but it was better than doing nothing. "What are you thinking?" Helen asked. Maya smiled. "I'm thinking humans are really good at being scary when we need to be." Maya hung up and increased her pace. Tomorrow would bring 4 hunters, an innocent family, and 1 teenage operative who was done pretending to be normal. The war was here, and she was ready.